I'm ready.
You do the intro, dude.
Oh, I didn't know if you were ready. Hey guys, I'm Daniel,
And I'm Matthew.
and
And
we
we
are
are that
that
damn
damn
brand.
brand.
I don't know about that one, but we're back with episode 20 of our podcast. We're here to talk to you today about some RTX issues and some Bethesda issues and little bit of meta site news, aka that damn brand stuffs, and a few other little small things. So
Yep.
without further ado, take it away.
All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is NVIDIA released a new 1070 RTX graphics card. It's supposed to be the medium range, or I guess medium high range graphics card. That's more, I guess, budget friendly. Still not great in terms of budget, but it's all right. $500. It's not the $800 from the other ones, but and I guess compared to what we currently have in the marketplace beforehand, personally, so I've seen the benchmarks for it, and in most games, it actually performs a lot like a 1080, a GTX 1080. The card from last generation, but this one has RTX. Your ray tracing. Well, in the games that they've been able to test it out, which has only been Battlefield as of now, its performance when RTX is on is fucking horrible. It gets down to the 20 frames per second, which is not very playable. And I just don't see why you would pay a premium for a feature that isn't functional. And as of now, I think they came out in October, so we're 2 months into the launch, and there's still only one game to play that has RTX. Like, it's just, I don't know what NVIDIA was thinking with this launch. I did see a Tom's Hardware, or not Tom's Hardware, what was it, JayzTwoCents video where he was showing off Battlefield, and the ray tracing looks awesome. I can't wait to play in ray tracing in a few years when technology actually matures. But as of now, it just seems like a gimmick for people like to screw over early adopters and get a cash grab.
Yeah, that JayzTwoCents video was actually really cool. I'll see if we can link to it in the description or something so you guys can check it out.
Yeah.
But he basically was showing off how he was running, like playing Battlefield and moving his soldier behind this truck. And like with RTX turned off, when he moves behind the truck, there was a reflection in like the water. And when he moved behind the truck, basically the reflection was gone because it's being mirrored in non-RTX. Essentially, it's just kind of going like this, it's being mirrored. So when he moves behind the truck, it doesn't see the truck for the thing that he was looking at being mirrored, so it's gone. But with RTX on, it's more of a, I don't even really know how to describe the process. He did,
It
but
simulates light. So the image would come in under, like he had it so like something was behind the truck, and you can't physically see it, but you'd be able to see it in the water because of the reflection.
yeah, so with RTX on, when he would move behind the truck, the image was still there in the water, in the puddle or whatever. Like you could look and you could still see it. You'd see less of it because you moved behind the truck, but it's still there. Whereas
Right.
with the non-RTX, when you move behind it, it's just straight disappears. And it's funny watching it pop in, like he's moving back and forth, and like on
Yeah.
RTX, it just kind of like the reflection shows up, and then with RTX, it stays there, and it's really damn cool. Actually, I agree with Daniel that. Playing with that technology, once the games and developers start utilizing it and it's affordable, that would be really cool. But now it just seems like you said, just they're ripping off early adopters and simple cash grab.
Yeah, I really think that they wanted to push it out before AMD's GPUs are coming out, because AMD is also teasing some really, really fancy GPUs, and knowing them, because they're trying to get into the GPU market, it would be probably a really good performance per dollar. I don't know if it's going to be as good as NVIDIA, but still, for lower end, or I guess mid-range cards, like low mid-range, kind of like what you would consider the 1060 being, which is actually over 50% of the GPU market, it's probably going to be a great deal. So they're probably going to come in and take that market, and I guess NVIDIA just wanted to get something out before they do that.
Yeah, and like the thing about AMD though, like at least in terms of their graphics cards, is it had to be something really damn impressive to make me switch. Not that Nvidia's blowing me away necessarily, but at the very least, shadow play. Like if AMD doesn't have something equivalent to shadow play, then I won't even really consider it unless it's just that amazing. I mean,
I agree with you. I feel like current gen AMD cards are kind of like your budget friendly if you're doing like a low budget build. But if you're doing anything higher than a low budget, you want to go NVIDIA, because not only is the power there, the features are there, like being able to stream right off the GPU, although that's kind of a little shoddy. I'm talking about like not going through OBS, just going into GeForce Experience and stream, and you're streaming.
yeah.
Being able to shadow play, just streaming off of a recording off of your GPU. And I really haven't noticed any sort of gameplay hindrance when you do that in shadow play. And things like those 3D, like Arsenal or Arson, what is the new one called? Ansel, how you can have the 3D screenshots in games. I think that's pretty badass, especially for like someone who's trying to up their game. Like let's say Overwatch supported it, for instance, and there's a part that I died that I want to see what happened around me. Hit that screenshot button. Now I have a 3D screenshot, and I can look at from my point of view, I can look at, okay, he was there, that was there, they crossed me up, or whatever. I think it has great potential in terms of watching, like for people who are serious about their gameplay, to go back and review their gameplay.
Yeah, kind of like really big in the esports community.
Correct.
For, like the Overwatch League, how they have the camera angles and stuff.
Yes.
But specifically, people that want to be pros at these games can analyze it, like you're saying, and see where they went wrong. So, yeah, it is interesting. But what you mentioned about AMD coming into the market, like price, I think you said, what is it, value for dollar or something?
Performance per dollar.
Yeah. I think it'll be really good too, actually, because, I mean, if it's anything like the CPUs.
That's
AMD,
exactly what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. So like AMD CPUs, have a good value for performance per dollar, like he's saying. So Intel's always been, well, now I'm talking about Intel, but basically AMD's trying to compete on two fronts, CPUs and GPUs, whereas, Intel's CPUs and NVIDIA's graphics cards. But yeah, like based on their current model, if it applies to the GPUs as well, then it'll probably be a good value.
And it'll probably start more innovation. You have that trade war going on, kind of like with Intel controlling the CPU market. They had 4-core processors for fucking ever, just because they never needed to have anything more than that. Now AMD is coming in, and lo and behold, AMD has an 8-core CPU. Well, so Intel's about to have one.
Yep.
So it's good for everyone all around. Competition is.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about the RTX?
It's pretty much that it's on par with the last generation, and it's kind of disappointing to see that in almost every single GPU except for the flagship, which is the 1080 Ti, but that's $1,300. What's the market share of that card in terms of GPU sales? The one card that's probably not going to sell as much as everyone else is the only card that doesn't have an equivalent from the previous generation that you can get for cheaper.
Right. Cool. So I guess we'll probably be talking more about RTX in the future. I doubt it's something that's just going to go away. So
no,
we'll go ahead.
Well, I'm saying, it's new and it's impressive. Like the technology itself is impressive. I just think it's in its infancy. It wasn't ready for the consumer market.
Yeah, I agree. I concur. But so we'll move on for now. And like I said, we'll probably be talking more about that in the future anyway. So for now, we'll let sleeping dogs lie and talk about Bethesda. Once one of the darling developers in the gaming world, they're coming under fire recently for some of their practices. I'll talk about one. I'll let Daniel talk about one because I think he's more on one end of that than I am or whatever. But so Fallout 76 is their big fall release. It just came out about a month ago, or not even a month ago, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it's sad that it's already like 60% or 40% off.
Yeah, it was 41% off on
Yeah.
Green Man Gaming on Black Friday. Um, but anyway, that's like their big, fall title. It's Fallout. Their Fallout series is beloved by many people ever since 3. I mean, well, they probably like, some people are diehards and played 1 and 2, but 3 is where it kind of hit the mainstream, and then 4 and New Vegas and all that. But anyway, so their big title, Fallout 76. It had like a $200 collector's edition that was supposed to come with all this cool shit, including some like really fancy like canvas collector's duffel bag or something. But they decided to stick it to consumers and send them some crappy nylon version of the bag. And basically they give 0 fucks about fixing the issue. They basically have acknowledged that they sent an inferior product and just said, fuck it, we're Bethesda, what are you going to do?
That's not fair. They did give them $5 worth of their microtransaction currency.
Yay.
Yeah.
As compensation, here's $5 to spend in microtransactions. But yeah, that's dumb. I think it's really fucked up for companies to do this. Essentially, it's a bait and switch. You're saying like, hey, you're going to pay us this money, you're going to get this product, and then you pay them the money and they give you another product that's like similar but not the same. Like, nah, that's garbage. I would demand my money back, and and apparently there's a class action lawsuit in the works. So
yeah, there's no way that could be legal and all.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens with the class action lawsuit. I actually have a side note about class action lawsuits later in the episode, so stick around for that. But
that's like buying a Porsche and they give you like a Ford Focus, and they're like, it's close enough, right? It's a car.
Yeah, you paid for something that has wheels and that moves and then runs on gas. And so here you go, deal with it. We're big badasses, deal with it. Yeah, so that's part of the issue with Bethesda and Fallout. And then, Daniel, I'll let you talk about the other issue that you were discussing.
Well, there's a few, so I can just go down the list.
Go right ahead.
First, they had that PR little stunt where someone contacted customer service because Fallout 76 isn't through Steam like all the other Fallouts are. So they contacted the Bethesda customer service asking for a refund because the game is garbage. And the Bethesda representative said, yeah, we'll process it. Just give us some time, something to that effect. And then he gets another email saying, due to our policy, we're not going to refund you, which he posted on Reddit and, it blew up. I feel like even if it isn't in their policy to refund the game, the fact that they said that they would have, they should. Because, that's the company's word. They told him that they would do it. Maybe they were making an exception. I don't know. But if it's their policy not to return it and then they say, okay, we'll go around it, I think they should uphold it. I don't know if you feel any differently.
No, I agree. Like, it might be their policy that they don't do refunds or whatever the fuck, policy that they're mentioning in that second email. But like you said, since they already agreed to it, they should fucking honor that and do it. And it should be one of these things where like, we know you're probably going to share this on Reddit or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But here's the, initial refund. Just let everyone know, like everyone else, that they're not going to be getting a refund. And this is not our policy to do refunds. But since we said we would, here you go. It's not like Bethesda is a small indie company that can't afford to give somebody their fucking money back. They could probably afford to give everyone their money back and still be okay. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I could just be speaking out my ass, but at least one fucking person is definitely doable. So,
yeah, I agree with you. They should do it, but that also brings up to why isn't it on Steam? And some people are speculating that it's not on Steam because they knew that it was going to get this backlash, and Steam has a very lenient return policy where as long as you haven't bought it, I think it's for 2 weeks. You can have it for 2 weeks, and you haven't played 2 hours on it. You can return it, no questions asked. Just say, like, I'm bored, or not even on board, like, not even for the game. Just say, I don't know, my TV broke, and I don't feel like, I don't know, just make something up. My dog's dead, and return the game. They don't care. They'll return it.
That's a little out of left field, but okay.
Well, my point being is, like, they'll return it, and your reason doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's that is the case. Like, I'm pretty sure that is the policy. 2 weeks or so, and less than 2 hours played. So, but I think the issue with that though is that most people might have played more than 2 hours thinking it was going to get better. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, this game might suck at the beginning, but it'll get better, and then it like doesn't get better. So they wouldn't have been able to get a refund anyway.
But I think it would have saved a lot of people too, like people who bought it that just haven't downloaded it or anything.
Yeah, they bought it and they hear about how crappy it is or whatever, and they're able to get a refund. But
Yeah.
so you mentioned, you kind of glossed over it while you were explaining the customer service rep thing, but why is it, like, why is the game bad? Like, what makes
Oh, I was going to get back to that. I was just letting that conversation go on for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah, because the missions are repetitive. The enemy, like the VAT system, then it apparently isn't too great because the enemies are really fast, but since it doesn't slow down time, you're kind of just like sitting there. And some people are complaining it's actually less accurate sometimes because you have a 0% chance of hitting them. Well, if they're right in front of you, just pull the fucking trigger and you're done. Like, so sometimes it's actually not beneficial to do that kind of stuff. There's complaints about PvP, how if you shoot someone, they barely take any damage, but then when they shoot you back to duel, you take the full damage, so you already start off at a disadvantage for initiating PvP. Just not a lot of things to do. I think the general consensus is it's kind of like an early release game where they have their foundation there and it can potentially be something great one day, but it's not right now. And that kind of reminds me of Sea of Thieves, where they released it with like 3 fucking missions, like, just in different places to go. You want to get the pigs, or you want to get the treasure, or a skull or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I think this comes from these companies taking on these projects that sound great and probably are great, but then they sink a lot of resources into it. Then investors want their money, so they do a big marketing campaign, which Sea of Thieves did the same thing. They did a huge marketing campaign. They showed like footage that looked amazing, and you can do all that shit in the game. But that's the only shit you can do in the game. And I think it's the same thing with Fallout. Fallout, they probably spent too much resources into it. They need to get some money back, so they release pretty much an early access product being marketed as a full release. And this shit kind of needs to stop. Pre-orders have already gone down, thank God. But I don't know how do you stop that. How do you stop people from doing that? Because I don't know if you know, but IGN and the big reviewers like that, how are they rating the game?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it wouldn't take nothing more than a couple of Google clicks if you want to keep talking while I look that up.
Yeah, because I think part of the problem is, and that goes back to, I'm still pissed off at IGN for Halo 4, is access journalism. Because that's how these guys operate. They don't shit on games because they know if they shit on games, they won't get early copies. And, that's how they do with Microsoft. Because remember that intern or something at IGN that he posted the video of like God of War on PlayStation, God of War on Xbox. So it's like the PlayStation and then it's a blank screen. And then the dude, Colin something, apologized to Xbox for that.
Oh, yeah. I know you're talking about Colin fuck. I used to know his name. He used to be at OXM, actually.
Yeah. But that's totally access journalism. Like, it's a true statement. The guy who made that was simply pointing out that the Xbox has no first-party games, so it's attacking them in a valid point. But instead of allowing a valid point stand, the president or the head of the Xbox portion of IGN comes out and sucks their dick. So it's complete. Like, I feel that the media has a responsibility to call out the game developers for being shitty, but they don't do that because they want to maintain access.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can't see you. That's why I'm Googling this. So IGN actually rated Fallout as a 5. I'm going to check GameSpot as well. But yeah, they got a 5 as for mediocre in their eyes. So that's kind of surprising. I expected it to be a lot higher, actually.
Yeah, I expect it to be like a 7 or 8. It's like, this game
Oh,
kind of sucks, but we'll like give it something passable.
GameSpot gave it a 4.
All right, well then this is not an issue of the media companies doing this, but
I don't. I mean, but I know what you're talking about. A lot of the
there are
times,
games that they do that for.
absolutely, absolutely. I think
I,
Sea of Thieves might have been one of them, but
well, I know Halo 4 for sure was because their review said that it was a Halo for Halo lovers, and it was fucking Call of Duty.
so Fallout 76 on GameFAQs is rated 2.14 out of 5 and a 52 Metacritic score out of 100.
So I don't want this to happen to Bethesda because I feel they're one of the better companies. But I'm glad to see that people are actually,
Rating it legitimately.
yeah, saying like this shit needs to stop. We need to stop getting these half-ass games, and like Sea of Thieves, for instance. Fuck that game.
You got to create your own fun.
And that's so much bullshit. I don't pay $60 to create my own fun.
And what am I, a game developer? Like,
Right?
I play games, not make them. But yeah, I agree that all of what you're saying, like, game companies need to stop this kind of early access. Well, so I mean, I have no problem with early access as long as it's stated early access. You know what I mean? Like with the Blackout Club, we played the Blackout Club a lot on our streams, which is probably on screen, and you can find the link in the description. But we played that a lot on stream, and we knew it was an early access game. So of course, we ran into bugs and glitches and issues, and kind of repetitiveness. But we knew that going in, and we also didn't get charged a full price for it. It wasn't a $60 game. It was like fucking $13, $15 or something like that. But Blackout Club actually says that in their description on Steam. It says, right now the game is priced, below the $20 or whatever. But once we add more to the game and stuff, it's going to be a regular retail price game. So you're basically, right now you're paying for early access, but you're also getting it at a lower price, so you get what you pay for, versus a game like Fallout 76 rushing to market, trying to capitalize on their crazy hype that they did from their massive marketing campaign, but they still have a lot of issues to fix and a lot of content to add. And like Sea of Thieves, like you said, I think Sea of Thieves is starting to catch up, but it's bullshit that they shouldn't have done that. Like they should have taken another year, added all this content in, and then released, because we paid full price for Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
$60 or whatever plus
60,
tax. Yeah, plus tax. So I mean, maybe more like 70 or closer to 70. But I don't feel like we got our value out of that game.
No, I got a fucking demo's worth of game.
There are some games where you get a shitload of value out of, and there are some games that you don't get any value out of. And it's just funny that because we've also recently been playing a lot of Warframe, and a game like Warframe that is base game free, like you don't have to spend a dime in that fucking game if you don't want to. The way they make money is basically by selling cosmetics and skipping grinding for people, or farming for people that don't want to.
Well, storage slots also. I think storage slots are kind of necessary, but they're not really, because you could delete and then craft another one.
Yeah.
But then at that point, it's like if you're spending like 50 cents on a storage slot, come on, you're really enjoying the game. Come on, like support the developer.
Yeah, no, and see that was my point, is that if you don't want to spend a dime in the game, you don't have to. But if you're getting that much enjoyment out of it and you've played the game for that long, then you should support the developer. Like I said it on stream, actually, I think it was last night or the night before, that basically I've played this game for like 500 plus hours, meaning Warframe, and I've given them at least $100 because I bought the $50 Founders Pack like when the game first launched or whatever, and you could get Excalibur Prime and some other bonuses. But then I turned around and bought more Platinum later because like I said, I like cosmetics, I like storage slots. There was a point in time when I was doing the Pokemon approach to Warframes. I was trying to get all of them, so I basically was buying all the storage slots so I could have all the Warframes. And same thing with the guns and the swords and everything. You have to have the storage in order to collect them. So that's what I was spending my plat on mostly. So, which is the in-game currency that costs real world money. But yeah, so a game like that, essentially base game, totally free, super fun. It's grown exponentially over the years.
Yeah,
and essentially you don't have to spend a single fucking dime if you don't want to. Versus a game like Fallout 76, where you pay full fucking price and you're like bored after an hour, and it has all these bugs, and
what I find funny is I bet you if Fallout 76 came out and said we're going to charge you $60 for the game, but it's an early release game, there's so many Fallout fans that would have still bought into it, thinking like in terms like, oh, that's badass that they're letting us shape the game. We can find the bugs for them and we can shape the game for them. I bet you if they took that approach and just put it in a certain way, it could be the same fucking bullshit game that it is right now, but people would have go into it with a mentality of being like, hey, we're helping form this game as a community.
Well, and I think you're 100% right on that, because if the company is transparent about what it's doing, then people respect it more. You know, like I mean, I personally I wouldn't pay $60 for a game like that. I mean,
Yeah, I wouldn't.
but you know, like you said, there are people that would, and so if they were transparent about and upfront about what they were wanting to do, then you know people would be less pissed off and upset, and the game wouldn't be as low rated as it is. But
Yeah.
you know, like you said, they have investors they need to try and please and all this kind of shit, and ultimately it just ends up being an issue for everyone. You know, because the fans get pissed off because the game's not complete. The developers lose out on money on sales because it starts getting all these bad reviews, bad press, and then the company, you know, Bethesda, was it ZeniMax Media that owns Bethesda or whatever, like the big
The publisher.
yeah, basically the publisher also loses the money from the investors and shit because they're not getting, you know, people aren't buying the fucking game. So like who
Who
wins?
wins?
Yeah, who wins in this scenario? And then I can't think of a single person ultimately, because no one likes it, no one gets any money. So well, I mean, I guess they get some money, but in terms of what it could be, you know, it's a
Right.
fraction of what it could be.
Yeah, isn't it the least selling Fallout game of all the series?
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't doubt it. Um,
I think I've read that somewhere.
you know, and this is the thing that turned me off of the game when it was even first announced was the multiplayer aspect. I understand they were trying to, you know, change the game and appeal to people that wanted to play it co-op and stuff, but to me, like that's not what Fallout ever was. And so, I don't know. That could have been part of it too. Is that it's well, not radically, but it's different from previous Fallout games. And
I
so,
think it should have been more like just a co-op Fallout, like the previous Fallout, not like where the players are the only people that are non-computer controlled, like where you go and get quests and stuff, and maybe just have anyone who is a guest to the server or whatever restrict them on who they can kill. Like, you know, they would be able to help you in combat, I guess, for lack of a better term, but they can't really do the quests for you, or like
or like they can't murder like the essential NPCs.
or any NPC, for instance. For
Yeah, maybe something you could toggle. Like, there's a lot of ways they could have went about it.
yeah, and I think that would have been a lot better because you still get a Fallout experience, but you have someone to experience it with. That's my
True.
personal opinion on how they
I
should have done it. They should have approached it more as a single player game rather than a single player game with co-op rather than I guess an MMO for lack of a better term. That's kind of how it
I
looks to me.
I mean, just as we're discussing it in my head, I'm thinking like, I wonder if they'd added the PvP as part of the way of capitalizing on like the new surge in like battle royale games type deal. I know it's not the same, obviously, because
Right.
it's a huge fucking map and you're less likely to run into people. But just the fact that you could kill people just walking around, like if somebody wanted to be a fucking troll asshole and they have like the highest level shit, they farm, they they grind it, and they got all the best gear, and they want to go around and just kill all the noobs, they could theoretically. They just have to. Might take a little while to find everyone on the map, but still, technically, they could.
Right.
I still don't know the thing about the nukes. Do you know about the what's the deal with the nukes in that game?
Oh, I know. I saw an Angry Joe video talking about how apparently the nuke codes are the same for everyone, so you can just go on like Reddit and you don't have to do the quest or whatever you felt like you're supposed to do. Like you can just get the codes from Reddit
And launch nukes at people?
yeah, yeah. I think you have to. I remember Joe said, I don't know exactly what the nukes do. I guess like I know obviously you launch them, but also he said that if two nukes are launched at once, it like crashes the server, something like that. Like I don't.
I mean, this sounds realistic. Like if we launch a nuke at
Yeah.
North Korea and they launch a nuke at us, that's pretty much the world. Not really, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just a whole mess of a situation. Bethesda has a lot of PR cleanup that they need to do to try and enamor themselves to gamers after this whole scenario. So it's just, and it all ties in together just over Fallout 76. The game is bad, the lack of content, etc. The fucking collector's edition fiasco with the bag, and you know, and the fact that they don't give a shit. Like you said, they gave you 500 like in-game credits or whatever. Like what they fucking do? You know, they cheated gamers out who bought the regular edition because the game sucks. They cheated gamers out of the people who bought the collector's edition because the fucking items were not as promised. So I really think Bethesda stock is going to go way the fuck down, and they're going to have to do a lot to get their goodwill back from the gamers, the gaming community at large.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So that was interesting. Is there any other comments on that?
Not really. It just sucks because it kind of makes me feel like, you know, if Bethesda did it, like who won't?
Exactly. I can tell you who won't. Digital Extremes. Publishers of Warframe. Just for
I know.
For those that know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, I expect this from Activision. I now expect it from Microsoft, but then I guess I expect it from Microsoft too because the shit they pulled with Halo and Gears of War, Judgment, you know, they're shitty publishers. But a company that like a fan favorite like Bethesda, like that's really, it's out of left field for me. Like thinking, like if you were to tell me there's going to be a big game fuck up this year and told me the situation and asked me what company would do it, Bethesda wouldn't even come into my mind. Yeah, it'd be like Activision. They released a new Destiny that like has no game content and you know like just the way they have EA, you know, whatever.
Exactly. EA is the first one that always comes to mind for me for any of those stupid shit. Like it's just fucking EA. But
it'd be Activision or EA for me. They're one and the same to me at this point.
I'm surprised they're not the same at this point. Actually, Activision, EA, Blizzard. Yeah, but yeah, it just sucks. These companies need to learn, you know, that's just not okay.
Yeah, and I think that's why indie's thriving.
Yeah, it could be why the indie market is doing so well. But go and download Warframe, play Warframe.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's good. Yeah, so I guess we'll move on from that. That was a good portion, but it's good. It's good content, I think. And so Daniel wants to discuss something he purchased recently.
Yeah, so I bought a Switch. Yay! I've been wanting to buy one for a while. I pretty much see it as a Game Boy. I'm probably never going to use it as a home console, to be honest. But it's pretty much just a PSA. I know that the Pokemon edition of the Switch, which is the one that I wanted to get, is sold out in the US. And thank you, Reddit, Switch Deals. They informed me that you can actually buy one from Spain, Amazon Spain, so Amazon.es. And after they convert the pound to no, it's not the pound, it's the euro, I'm sorry. After they convert the euro to US dollars for how much it costs and add shipping, it comes out to $406, which if you don't know, the thing in the US costs $400. So here in Texas, we have an 8% sales tax. So I technically got it probably for around $30 cheaper than I would have bought the US. The Switches are also not region locked. So you can use a Japanese Switch, a UK Switch, or a European Switch, and a North American Switch with all the games and whatever. You can mix and match. So another PSA, if you didn't know that, you can import Japanese games that do not come to America and play them, even if you have an American Switch.
I did not know that. That's good to know.
Yeah. So just letting you guys know, if you can't find one here in America, like I couldn't, Spain has them. And they're all in stock. Like the Japanese and the Spanish have them, but they're a lot more expensive in Japan. So I'd get them from
It has to come a little bit farther, I think, from Japan, but I could be wrong on that. Anyway, yeah, so a good, nice little PSA there for those of you that want to get a Nintendo Switch. I too will probably get one in the future, just not right now because Christmas is coming up and stuff. But it'll be a fun thing to take to PAX South. You'll be walking around with your Switch and just getting all these Street Pass people or whatever. I think that's how that still works.
That's how Willie did it. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a Switch. Yeah.
So
I'll take it with me.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Which if you didn't catch that, we will be at PAX South 2019. What? Yeah,
it'll be fun. And we're also planning to go to a bigger convention this year. We haven't decided which one. I think right now is between PAX West and E3.
Right. Those
But
are probably the most likely candidates.
yeah, but nothing in stone.
Nope, not yet, but we're working on it. And
All right.
so, some other news also. Today we actually discussed having our friend Tom join us as part of That Damn Brand. He's streams on Twitch as Tom_Irish. He's from Ireland. He's a really cool dude. And basically he's going to be kind of joining us, maybe doing some stuff for the website, or at the very least, joining us in our Discord, which, by the way, if you're not in our Discord, follow the link in the description to join us on Discord. We chat about everything. We've got all kinds of specific channels, and we're just trying to get a growing community. I think last I looked, there was 26 total people in the Discord, so we're growing. Yeah, go ahead and check. We're growing. 24 people in the Discord as of this recording. So, we're slowly growing. Like, we've met a bunch of people that have joined and have been real cool. And, just some quick shout outs: Unicorn Disney, Dermot Dev, Captain Blue Eyes, Robin. We don't want to go through the entire list, but basically those are people that have been supporting us recently. So we just want to say thank you. And, if you're not already joined the Discord, and, maybe we'll have a home for you at That Damn Brand, just like Tom, in the future. So, because we're looking to grow, we have big plans for the future, and so just keep an eye out for that as well. So go ahead and mention the thing that you're working on.
Okay, so I'm going to start something called D's Corner. It's pretty much just going to be like, I guess, what we're doing now, minus Matt.
It's going to be D's Corner, like just him.
Yeah, just me, by myself. I would be discussing things that I like, things that maybe we didn't get too deep into the podcast due to time, and that I want to discuss more of. So it's just going to be a little me shooting shit and talking about probably PC and gaming stuff. It's going to be all related to gaming, but it may not be just developers and stuff. Maybe some tech here and there, or maybe some thing that affects streaming. So I guess that's gaming-ish. Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that as well. Like I said, we got plans and ideas, and what's the vernacular? We got irons in the fire, as it were. So we have things that we're working on to grow and expand and have more content, and that's pretty much that part of it. So the other thing I wanted to mention real quick before we end this episode was earlier I mentioned the thing about a class action lawsuit with Bethesda, and I'm not going to show the entire thing, of course, but I myself got a check from I didn't want to leave it up there for too long, even though I closed it, but in regards to the Sony PS3 other OS litigation. So if you weren't aware, when the PS3 was launching or had launched or whatever, Sony basically promised that you'd be able to put an OS on there aside from just the PlayStation OS. I don't even know what the hell it's called, PS OS or anyway. Yeah, they basically made an empty promise and said you would be able to put a different OS on there, maybe Windows or something, or whatever. And then they never delivered on that promise. And so some gamers got with lawyers or whatever, and they decided to file a class action lawsuit. And so it was floating around that basically if you had purchased the PS, and it had to be a fat PS3, like I'm sure you know the difference, but if not, we'll put a picture in maybe we'll do it in the Discord or something. We'll post a picture of like basically the versions, but the fat PS3 was like the larger one versus the slim PS3s. So if you purchased one of the original fat PS3s during a certain time frame, then you were eligible to join the lawsuit. And if they confirmed that was you're entitled to money. The whole reason why I did it was because I did fit into that time frame when I owned a PS3, and they said you could get up to $75. I was like, fuck yeah, $75, that'll be legit. Fucking check us $10. Like, whatever. I guess it's $10 for not doing anything, so that's good.
Maybe it's like $10 per PS3 you owned.
Damn, can you imagine the people that had like fucking PS3 farms? Like, oh, anyway, that was before mining was a thing, really, I think. But yeah, so I think that's about gonna do it for this episode. Was there anything else you wanted to mention?
Can't think of anything right now.
All right, guys. Well, like I said, we're probably gonna call it. Wow, I can't talk straight. We're going to call it a wrap on this episode. So I've been Matthew.
I've been Daniel.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yep, laters.
Peace.